And that same quantum shift applies to all sectors of societies, which brings us rather to how we can reimagine the transactional energies of our economic systems, the lifeblood of our societies, which is unfortunately no longer serving our best interests. And to discuss that, I'm absolutely delighted to introduce John Fullerton, a self-described unconventional economist who left a highly successful 20-year career on Wall Street to become the architect of regenerative economics and regenerative finance. And this work is really inspirational, and it's essential to support transitions to a sustainable, flourishing future. So we're so excited to have you with us, John. Thank you.
Thanks, Suzanne. And boy, what a wonderful set of conversations. I almost feel like I want to use up my 5 minutes just responding to the others, but this does follow nicely the materialist Newtonian limitations and flaws are alive and well in the economics discipline. In fact, economics was built on Newtonian physics and never corrected, believe it or not. But I'm going to start with a simple proposal, and that is a proposal that we have faith in life and trust in life. That is the essence of really the regenerative paradigm. And as Susan said, the economy is now very much the water we swim in. It's way too important to be left to the economists. Worse, our decision-making, not just in economic matters, but in all of our governance decisions, are really trapped in what I call the finance algorithm, which essentially optimizes the value of money over all other values by design. We call it an internal rate of return for a reason. It's internal to the owners of capital. And I received a LinkedIn post this morning titled "It's Not Working," with a article and highlights about how the whole business-led, voluntary targets-led sustainability movement is not working. And in fact, it's moving backwards. Certainly the recent election in the United States and the divisiveness we have is not helping, but it wouldn't be working even without that. And so it reminded me of I was given a 5-minute chance to do an intervention at a meeting at the Paris COP among a group of experts. And I tried to start explaining regenerative economics, and I could tell by minute 3, no one knew what I was talking about. And so I said, I'm working on something that people will only become interested in when they realize what they're working on is not working. And so with that, I'll share very briefly what I'm working on. Let me start with Fritjof Capra's recent description of 4 systemic principles of life. He described that life is organized in networks, so that's the structure. He described regeneration as the process that explains how life works. And then he went on to say that life is inherently creative and inherently intelligent. And yet we organize our societies and our businesses hierarchically in conflict with how life works. We use mechanistic processes to design and run the economy. It's very much run in a Newtonian machine clockwork universe way, and we optimize essentially money. And we value reductionist logic over creativity and consciousness, despite the fact that creativity is, I would say, the essence of life. Although I wouldn't argue that love is the essence of life. Maybe there's some interconnection there. And of course, we think we know better than the intelligence of life, and we actually kill our curiosity by the time our students get out of high school. So this transformation to a regenerative process is really, it has been for me, a shift in consciousness. And I was sort of blown away when I was reading a book on Western mysticism, that the early alchemists used the word regeneration. They said regeneration was their watchword. So this shift from a mechanistic economic system to a regenerative economic system is very much about a shift in consciousness, a transformation that is far beyond what most people in the world of economics and business are even contemplating. And my proposal for regenerative economics is based on three simple premises. The first is that the economy, made up of it's a human economy, is a living system embedded in a much larger living system. The second premise is there are patterns and principles that we understand now that describe how life actually works. And the third premise is that if the human economy is to be regenerative, it too will need to follow these same patterns and principles. And I don't have time to go into what those principles are. I've sketched out 8 of them in my work. But the key idea here is that if we practice faith in how life works and prioritize these principles and are serious about them and not sort of cherry pick them when they're convenient, no matter the cost, what follows out of that is regenerative potential. Which is what allows life to continue and be the miracle that it is. And this is the same story playing out in health, and I believe would play out in education. If we let go of our goals and our metrics a little bit and focus on creating conditions for health, we will join this miracle process we call life, which, by the way, Simon's brilliant industrial permaculture analogy, that is the regenerative economy right there. Very different than the mechanistic circular economy conversations we've been having for the last 25 years that, by the way, aren't working. And as well as his sacred masculine and feminine, those align with the principle of imbalance that I talk about. And of course, all of this is, to me, remarkable that nothing that I'm saying is new. This is simply repeating many of our ancient wisdom traditions and the core teachings, in particular, of our indigenous knowledge. So we've gone full circle in our modern age arrogance and come back to having to rediscover what we've already known and put it into practice in a profoundly different way. So again, let us have faith in life.
Thank you so much, John. And so much of this is common sense to people on the street, so to speak, but the biggest challenge is overcoming the inertia of the systems that we've engineered. But the good news is that there is growing public awareness and dissatisfaction with these broken systems, and that's leading to mounting pressure to change them. And we're living